Well, the United Nations Security Council convened a high-level meeting on Thursday chaired by U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken to address global food security concerns. This comes as the U.S. assumes the UNSC presidency for the month of August. Blinken urged all countries at the United Nations to try and stop Russia from using the Black Sea grain deal as a blackmailing tactic. Last month, Russia had suspended its participation in the grain deal.
Hunger must not be weaponized. I urge all member states to join this communique. We also must significantly increase aid to tackle extreme hunger and to avert famine. Last year, governments and private donors made record contributions, providing direct relief, equipping farmers with fertilizer, using satellite imagery to maximize yields. Donations for the World Food Program jumped 48%. The United States alone provided more than $7.2 billion, funding roughly half of the World Food Program's budget. These and other efforts helped the world narrowly avoid famine last year.
Blinken said that nearly 90 countries have backed a U.S.-drafted communique which commits to take action and end the use of food as a weapon of war. On the other hand, Moscow has expressed that if its demands to improve its own exports of grain and fertilizer were met, it would consider resurrecting the Black Sea Agreement. Exports of Russian food and fertilizers are not subject to Western sanctions. However, Moscow says that restrictions on payments, logistics and insurance have amounted to a barrier to shipments. During the UNSC meet, Blinken also announced that the U.S. has provided more than $17.5 billion since January of 2021 to address famine and food insecurity. U.S. is also set to shell out $362 million to tackle hunger in Haiti and 11 other African countries. Blinken also singled out China, the world's second largest economy, by saying that largest economies should be the world's largest donors for them to consider themselves global leaders. However, Russia's deputy UN ambassador accused Western nations of an unwillingness to help UN fulfill certain terms and conditions with Russia.
Двуличие наших бывших западных партнеров еще более четко проявилось в их высокомерном нежелании выполнять вторую часть зерновой сделки – меморандум России и ООН по поставкам российских продовольствий и удобрений на мировые рынки.
According to the United Nations, the Black Sea deal brought prices down 23% from a record high in the weeks after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin told African leaders that last week, that Russia was ready to replace Ukrainian grain exports to Africa on both a commercial and aid basis. However, it stands stern on its ground that unless complexities created by Western nations aren't eliminated, global food security issues would not be resolved. For more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report from New York.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken chaired the signature event for America's presidency for the month of August here at the United Nations Security Council. The event focused on hunger and food insecurity. Blinken blamed conflict for famine and food insecurity around the world. Blinken also announced that the United States, which has already allocated $17.5 billion to tackle famine around the world, that it will also allocate another $362 million to tackle hunger in Haiti and 11 African countries. Blinken explicitly singled out China as the world's second largest economy, saying that the world's largest economies should also be the largest donors, while EU officials accused Russia of using grain as a geopolitical tool. Russia, for its part, said that Western sanctions imposed on Moscow has hampered efforts for food and fertilizer exports, basically saying that unless these obstacles are not removed, then the larger issue of food insecurity around the world will also be stalled. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.